A few years ago, the Soviet Union conducted a wild and failed experiment that resulted in the creation of the feared machete warrior Khan. Wielding an immensely powerful scimitar, his attacks were ferocious and relentless. Amid a battlefield of chaos, he could destroy a car in an instant, reducing it to scrap metal. Meanwhile, a man inside a vehicle equipped with a Gatling gun fired wildly. Khan moved with inhuman speed and agility, his presence ghostly and impossible to track. In a blink, he pierced the car door, slicing the truck in half effortlessly. Khan is the product of a mad scientist's secret biological experiments. Here we refer to Dr. Kuratov as PhD. This mad PhD had abducted 4 innocent individuals, forcibly altering their bodies to create 4 super-powered warriors. Khan was just one of them. The other 3 fighters are Phantom Woman, who is invisible when she encounters water and can manipulate water with her mind, killing people invisibly. Vajra Bear has extraordinary strength and has 3 forms, from human body to half-bear body to full-bear body, with increasing combat power. The Boulder King can manipulate rocks and form armor or weapons out of them. But the military discovered the scientist's madness and moved to shut it down. Upon learning that troops were closing in, the PhD locked himself inside his lab and detonated explosives, intending to erase all evidence. Miraculously, he survived. The chemicals inside the lab had altered his genes, granting him immense power and the ability to control machines. Now, PhD has taken control of a military base using his newfound abilities and is planning something disastrous. The military, desperate to stop him, deployed their most advanced weaponry. But all weapons are too weak to resist the Doctor's powerful abilities. Realizing the futility of conventional attacks, military leaders held an emergency meeting. In the end, it was decided to bring in those 4 bio-soldiers to deal with the Doctor. A high-ranking female officer, Elena Latina, took it upon herself to lead the mission. Her first target was Lur, the Stone King. The next day, Elena Latina arrives at a temple and indicates to Lur that she wants him to participate in an important mission. Lur simply waved his palm lightly and the rocks around him rose into the air. He stated that all he wanted to do now was to be a shepherd. Once, he was forced to undergo transformation experiments, only to be discarded like garbage after the experiments were over. Nowadays, he didn't want to be bound by anyone anymore. Still, when he hears about the Doctor, he takes off his hat and decides to take revenge on the Doctor who experimented on him. Soon, Lur finds his brother Khan, who knows about the Doctor's message, and Khan joins the revenge team. In the forest, a brown bear suddenly rushed out of the house, which surprised everyone. The brown bear's name is Arceus, and he has the superpower of turning into a bear. The 4th person with superpowers is Xenia, who has the ability to become invisible. With the assistance of the military, The four superpowered warriors Lur, Khan, Arsus and Xenia are reunited. They all had a common enemy. They would fight. A few days later, the team arrived at the PhD's stronghold in the middle of a torrential downpour. Xenia used her invisibility to slip inside undetected. Elena Latina observed from the outside, but suddenly, their communication signal was jammed. At this time, Khan, holding two knives, acted quickly. His figure flashed and he took care of the two people in an instant. His twin scimitars flashed like lightning, his speed making him nearly untouchable. But then thwip, a tranquilizer dart struck him. On the other side, Arsus is so brave and fierce that he can send them flying with a flick of his arm. But the soldiers unleashed an iron net, trapping him and forcing him back into human form. Xenia uses her stealth to walk past the soldiers, but the soldiers are equipped with thermal imaging equipment and her every move is clearly seen. The soldier opens the pipe above him and releases a white gas that instantly freezes Xenia in place. Lur, clad in an impenetrable stone armor, launched a barrage of rock projectiles. But the PhD barely flinched. With a wave of his hand, he stripped Lur of his armor and slammed him to the ground. Their attack had failed. The PhD captured them and locked them in electromagnetic cages. He gave them an ultimatum: serve him, or be destroyed. They had 24 hours to decide. It turns out that the raid failed because there were undercover agents within the military. The Doctor's real plan is to take control of a giant tower connected to the station's satellites. With his powers, once he succeeds, he will be able to control all the machines on the planet and thus take over the entire planet. Taking advantage of the Doctor's absence, Elena Latina leads the group in successfully rescuing the four fighters and returning them safely to the base. At this point, the military finally realized the Doctor's true purpose. It turns out that the Doctor wants to connect the tower to the federal building in Mexico, so that the tower and the building together will be 900 meters high. In addition, there is a satellite space cannon called Thor's Hammer in outer space, which is very powerful. When the military learns of this, they immediately send a fighter jet to stop the Doctor. The Doctor easily took control of several combat machines and instantly blew up the fighters. At this point, except for the four biochemical fighters, there was no one left to stop the Doctor. The military provided them with specialized gear to enhance their abilities. Khan's Dark War armor is capable of resisting all physical damage and is also equipped with special weapons such as wire rope. Lur's Thor's whip instantly releases hundreds of thousands of volts and can attack invisible targets. Xenia's tights can be activated to make her invisible without the use of water. Arsus, on the other hand, is equipped with a large Gatling machine gun. With their equipment, the four of them have greatly increased their combat power. With their upgraded gear, the four warriors launched their second assault. Xenia kicked a weapon to Arceus and vanished into thin air. Arceus carries a weapons case, pulls out his special machine gun and starts shooting like crazy. The enemies took cover one after another, and Arceus pursued them. Suddenly, a grenade blows Arceus down, and the cloaked Xenia is forced to decloak. The situation was not in their favor and they were gradually unable to hold on. Enraged, Arceus transformed into his full bear form, tearing through the enemy ranks with relentless fury, Xenia riding on his back. Meanwhile, Lure sneaks through the basement while the door is open. The three reach the roof of the adjacent building and prepare to follow the pipes across the street. However, someone above them shoots at them with a gun, and Arceus is unsteady on his feet and nearly falls. Lure makes a shield out of his whip to fend off the bullets and buy time for everyone. Just then, Khan is in the air ready for action. Seeing his companion in distress, he leaped forward, shot a rope from his hand to hook the tower, and with his scimitar split the beams of the tower in two in an instant. The warriors were back together.
Stop!
The PhD sensed their presence and let out a laugh. With a single strike, he sent Arceus flying. Lure lashed out with his electrified whip, but the PhD caught it, countering with a devastating blow. Khan attempted a surprise attack, only to be effortlessly repelled. Xenia turned invisible, grabbed Lure, and struck the PhD with her whip, binding him. Khan lunged, scimitars ready, but it was no use. Arceus roared, transforming into his most powerful form, but was swiftly defeated. At that moment, a plane flies by and Khan throws his weapon at it and they wisely choose to escape. However, the doctor takes control of the missile car and fires a missile that interferes with the plane's equipment, and the plane is about to crash. At the critical moment, Khan cuts the rope in time and the four fighters jump into the water to save their lives. Emerging from the river, they were met by Elena Latina. As it turns out, Elena Latina learns that superpowered people have a joint skill, but the process of energy transfer is extremely dangerous, and the slightest mistake could lead to collective death. The four warriors decided to take a chance, and a large amount of energy converged in the air. They all wore pained expressions. The building began to crumble inch by inch, and the giant tower collapsed under the impact of the massive energy. The passageway to the station almost opened at this point, but eventually closed. And the doctor was buried in the rubble with this collapse. At the end of the story, the four warriors finally returned to their ordinary lives.